まあ、魔法っていうのは眉唾だけどさ。
魔法ガールがそんな悪いことする。
I don't know. The Daily Bugle has posted some convincing articles against them. We opened this week with the Mahou girls examining the fallout of Kronos' attack on the magic world. Through it, they saw some horrifying and rather tragic victims like the principal, Liko's dad, and okay, can we not show the old geezer's dentures again? It's kind of killing the mood, just saying. Also, I think I kind of get Liz wanting to be a better teacher, but what exactly is the VP's deal if it's just her and the Paracel? Well, anyway, they decided to take the train back to the no magic world. How do you know it's them? Like, sure, I guess they can figure out what the main interests of their friends are, and having them all together does kind of help with the connections, but they also shouldn't expect them just to be together now that they've graduated. I don't know, it just feels like a bit of a leap in logic, which I actually wouldn't have minded too much if it weren't for the fact that just a few scenes later, Mirai would discover that they got messages from all three of them saying that they were going to the magic world. Like, just imagine a scenario where they do see those statues, but don't really think much about them at the time because, well, the world is ending and everything, and are more shocked by the fact that their train is out of service. Then when they do get back to the no magic world and find those messages, they're able to actually be shocked when they put two and two together. Wouldn't that be a lot more powerful than just having Wolverine blur it all out? But yeah, as for how they made it back, in spite of Turbo being on his permanent coffee break, Yamo managed to use some of your typical villain teleportation magic to get them there. Yeah, you ever notice that's the one major advantage most villains have over the protagonist? Anyway, on top of getting the aforementioned messages from their friends, as well as a bunch from Mirai's mom worrying about her, the Mahou Girl hashtag had also gone wild with a bunch of missing persons requests that were dated around the time of the Magic World attack. This of course meant that Kronos had been able to attack both worlds simultaneously, albeit not as aggressively with the no magic world because, well, no magic and therefore a little less valuable. With that though, they decided to visit Mirai's parents to both assure her that she was safe and also reunite them with Kotoha. Also, am I the only one who didn't quite notice that she grew up in this scene in order to match up with Mirai and Liko? Like, I know they said this line, but the wonky art style just kinda threw me off. Though, I'm not complaining too much, as it did at least lead to a cute scene where Kota decompressed, and we also learned that there were some nasty after effects from them age regressing in the final episode of their OG series. Personally, I like to imagine this is what happens every time they do a crossover, and are forced to revert back to kids due to contractual obligations with Toei. I mean, it would be the first time that they've overworked their workers. Anyway, we also got easily my favorite bit in this whole episode with Yamo and Mofru just kind of shooting the breeze together. They mostly discussed the idea of how familiars should probably interact with their masters. It was a wholesome and more importantly hilarious bit with 90% of the gecko's words going right over the teddy bear's head. It also acted some good foreshadowing for later in this episode, and probably in the next one too. And Yamo continued to be the best part of this episode when he tried to explain their situation, but now his words were going over all of their heads when they just had to interject about how they should discuss things. Yeah, I agree. We don't need to do a gag that The Simpsons did about 3 decades ago.
Huh? And this olive is you. Now.
The thing he was trying to say was that they first had to figure out where Kronos was hiding between the magic and no magic worlds. However, that would be sidelined by more of these magically induced flashbacks, which, yeah, are starting to feel rather superfluous when the characters could just do normal flashbacks. Still, at least they were nice flashbacks that highlighted both of the Mahou girls' first days on the job. In Mirai's case, it was her being a vigilante menace, while Liko was just her first day as a teacher. More importantly, it hinted at them longing for the other to really highlight what these lesbians' real goals are. It was subtly shown with Liko and just directly stated by Mirai, so I guess we can assume who was the thirstier one. Later, we also got a cute bit of all of the girls crawling into Mirai's bed in not at all a suggestive manner, at least I hope not with Odaru. But yeah, to clear their heads, they decided to do some night grooming and have a sweet family moment. So wait, is it actually an egg on top of the melon bread, or is it more like mooncake? Because either way, it's kind of problematic. However, they also discuss what Kronos was doing with his victims and how, according to Liko, it might not be all that bad.
それがせめてもの救いね。
That sounds more like coping to me, girl. Yeah, again, I'll save talking about the idea of living in a quote-unquote eternal paradise for the finale, but yeah, come on, Liko, you should know this is not how people should live. Anyway, looking up at the Arch Moon reminded the Mahou girls of the in-between dimension that the snail train traveled on. And this ended up giving them the answer to where Kronos was hiding, which was kind of clever, as it took advantage of the earlier reveal that he had attacked both worlds simultaneously, meaning that he had to be an equal distance from both, or rather, in between both. However, as Yamo correctly pointed out, they were now essentially in outer space. Which, while likely nowhere near as vast as our universe, it was still vast enough that it shouldn't be easy to find the evil doggo and,
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Like, seriously, did guys like Liko's dad, who was actively looking for Kronos, not see that thing while riding the train? Well, anyway, they moved near the object, and after scoping it out a bit, they were able to estimate that its diameter was likely the size of the Earth's moon.
The moon!
And sure enough, by approaching the final boss, they initiate the final battle, with the Mahou girls transforming in. Oh come on, y'all still haven't finished the trio transformation variant sequence and have to show both of these sequences in their entirety? It's rather ironic that this show has pretty bad time management, at least when it comes to its production. Anyway, with only a few minutes left in the episode, we didn't get much of a fight, at least in terms of length, but it wasn't bad, at least from a creative standpoint, as not only did it take advantage of the empty space of the in-between dimension, but Kronos was also able to create objects based on the memories of the people he had captured, which obviously was a lot of things, and as a result, it kind of reminded me of the final chaotic battle of Into the Spider-Verse, which, considering the production issues with that third movie, this might be a good replacement for that. I mean, at least based on next week's episode preview, this will likely become a Yu Yoshiyama Sakuga fest. However, the fight was interrupted when Yamo totally betrayed the Mahou girls and asked Kronos to send him back to the past to see Dokorokushi. Yeah, obviously, I don't believe this so-called betrayal, like, at all, but I do think they'll probably do something interesting with it, so I'm not actually criticizing it or anything, and we'll look forward to what's likely Yamo's Doctor Strange gambit. However, Kronos didn't bother to listen anyway, and the episode ended with him proceeding with his plans and okay, I've seen the comments comparing this guy with Majora, but now it's starting to get a little ridiculous. But yeah, this was an okay-ish preamble to the final battle of the series. I mean, I would say it did everything it needed to, including having some fun, calm before the storm moments, and highlighting what the Mahou girls were fighting for. The execution, though, did feel a little lacking, especially when it came down to the pacing. I think of all the episodes so far, this probably felt like one of the more predictable outings. Maybe not the most, but definitely a little too much since we are at the tail end of the story. Obviously, a lot more twists are coming, and I'm certainly hoping that Yamo's stuff pays off, but yeah, I do feel like they could be doing a little more by this point. Which they might have had a little more time to do if they just did little things like minimize the trio discovery stuff as I mentioned, and of course give us the proper trio variant of the transformation sequence so that they don't have to show the whole damn thing. If they did that, they might have had a little more time to flesh out the discovery of Kronos' hiding spot, like maybe show that he was cloaking or something, or at least be far enough away from the eyesight of the train, because right now it's just kind of a moon-sized plot hole. Stuff like that does bug me, but I also do appreciate the little bits of more casual moments, especially with Yamo, who I'm really starting to like, and again, it makes it hard for me to believe that he actually betrayed anyone. Thus, overall, while I think the execution of this episode was lacking, I am at least looking forward to what the last few episodes are going to bring. Whatever they're setting up with this finale, hopefully it won't involve some stupid argument over who's the soy sauce and who are the crackers. Thanks for watching what's thankfully just going to be one of 2 videos we're doing this weekend. Yeah, thankfully, Idol Precure and the Tokusatsu are taking the week off, so I can work on other stuff as well as take things a little easier, thank God. Look forward to Red Ranger Isekai tomorrow, and until then though, for now my friends, and was that always there?